We're going to continue our discussion of rhythm and move to dotted quarter notes. Before we move to dotted quarter notes, let's review what we know about dots in general. Remember, a dot next to a note or a rest adds half the original value. When the bottom number of the time signature is 4, remember a half note gets 2 beats. So if you add a dot next to it, that will add 1 more beat because half of 2 is 1. Thus, a dotted half note equals 3 beats. Similarly, if you add a dot next to a quarter note, that dot will add half of the original value of the quarter note. When the bottom number of the time signature is 4, a quarter note equals 1 beat. That means the dot will equal half a beat. So 1 plus 1.5 is 1.5 beats. The dotted quarter note equals 1.5 beats. Remember, a pair of eighth notes equals 1 beat. A pair of eighth notes gets the same rhythmic value as a quarter note. A single eighth note has a flag and will last half of a beat. The graphics here are to help you visualize the duration of a dotted quarter note. Remember, a quarter note is the same duration as 2 eighth notes. The dot next to a quarter note equals half the original value, so that would be 1 more eighth note. Thus, a dotted quarter note equals the same duration as 3 eighth notes. On the right, you see the counts written under 4 pairs of eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Underneath that, you see a pair of eighth notes that have been beamed together, and then a pair of eighth notes that are not beamed together that have flags instead. It's the same duration as if they were beamed together. So you see 1 and 2 and. On the bottom, you see a dotted quarter note, which, like we just discussed, equals the duration of 3 eighth notes. So that's worth 1 and 2. We can pair this with another eighth note, and that will be the and. So listen as I count this pattern on the right. Starting with the top line, then moving to the second line, and finally ending with the bottom line with the dotted quarter eighth note pattern. You'll hear 4 clicks of the metronome before I begin. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2 and. Here we have a rhythm that uses quarter notes, eighth notes, and dotted quarter eighth patterns, ending with a whole note. Let's go ahead and write in the counts. So we have beat 1, 2, 3, 4, starting over with 1, 2, and 3, 4, and starting over with 1. Now remember, the dotted quarter note gets a whole beat plus the first half of the next beat. So we're going to write 2, this is and, 3, it gets all of beat 3 and the first half of the next beat, which is beat 4, and then the whole note gets 4 beats. So if we were to do the counts here, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, some people don't like to say the beats that happen when a note is more than one beat. So that would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 3, and 1. Some people were taught how to do rhythms using rhythmic syllables, like tas and t or ta t. So for this dotted quarter note, our rhythmic syllable could be ta-i-ti, ta-i-ti. The E is for the first half of this pattern, this pair of eighth notes. Ta-ti-ti, ta-ti-ti, ta-i-ti, ta-i-ti. So let's listen to it with rhythmic syllables from the beginning. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, i, ti, ta, i, ti, ta. Let's listen to it played on a drum. We could also clap this pattern. If we're clapping it, we're only going to make one clap per note head. So listen to it once. You'll hear 4 clicks of the metronome before I start. Notice that this eighth note comes between beat 2 and 3. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. So let's go ahead and do the claps. Clap with me this time. You'll hear 4 beats of the metronome, and then we'll get started. Here we go. It's time to practice what we've learned. Let's write in the counts. Here we have an example that's in 4/4. So we start with beat 1, 2, 3. This is a dotted quarter note, so it's going to get 1 full beat plus half of the next beat, followed up with an and. Our half note gets 2 beats, 3 and 4. We start over with 1. The dotted quarter note, remember, we'll put 2 numbers down because it gets a full beat plus half of the next beat. Here's the rest of that beat. Here's beat 3, 4, and 1, 2, and a beat of rest, and then the 4th beat. So let's count this. You'll hear 4 beats of the metronome before we come in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 4. Again, for those of you more familiar with not saying the beat when a note lasts more than one beat, let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 3, and 4. 1, and 3, and 1, and 4. Some of you are more familiar with the rhythmic syllables. Ta, 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 ti. So let's try it on the rhythmic syllables. Ta, 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 ti, ta, ti, ta. Ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta. And lastly, let's clap after 4 beats of the metronome. Let's go ahead and listen to this as played by the drum. Let's look at an example and a different time signature. Here we have 3, 4. So we will have 3 beats in each measure. We start with beat number 1. And when we get to beat number 3, then we see the bar line and we start over with beat number 1. This dotted quarter note, remember, gets the full value of a quarter note plus the first half of the next beat. So I'm writing 2 numbers down. Here's the and of beat 2, and then beat 3. We start back over with 1. The half note gets 2 full beats. Then we get to 3, and the dotted half note gets 3 beats. Then we come back to a dotted quarter note. So I will put down 2 numbers, followed by the and, then 3. This is beat number 1 and the first half of beat number 2 and beat 3. Here is beat 1. This is beat 2 plus the first half of beat 3 and the and of beat 3. And the dotted half note gets 3 beats. So let's do the counts. You'll hear 3 clicks of the metronome, and then we will do the counts. Remember, we're only going up to 3, and then we start over with 1. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Again, counts this time without saying the beat that occurs when a note lasts more than 1 beat. 3 clicks of the metronome. 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 3. 1, 3, and 1. 1 and 3. 1 and 3. 1, 2, and 1. For those of you who are used to the rhythmic syllables, we can do those as well. So we'll have ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, i, ti, ta. Let's try it. So here are your 3 metronome clicks. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, i, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, i, ti, ta, ta, i, ti, ta, 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 i, ti, ta. Let's listen to it played on the drum. This time, let's go ahead and clap it with the metronome. Again, 3 clicks of the metronome, and then we'll begin. Let's listen to it one last time on the drum.